Maya, 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 Maya,
Alo? Salut! Sunt eu, un haiduc și te rog, iubirea mea, primește fericirea. Alo? Alo? Sunt eu, Picasso, ți-am dat bip și sunt voinic, dar să știi, nu-ți cer nimic. Vrei să pleci, dar numai ei, numai ei, numai ei, chipul tău.
Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, reporting live from Tiraspol, the capital city of Pridniestrovia, or Transnistria, on another day of our trip all through Romania, Moldova and Ukraine. And it was a really nice day actually yesterday, but of course the first question is, you might be thinking, where's Pridniestrovia? I never heard of that, and you may even be getting out a map and trying to find it on a map, and you would struggle because this is a country that is not on any map, or at least not any map that isn't produced in Pridniestrovia or Transnistria. And that's because it's an unrecognised country. It's a country that was founded in, I think it was 1994, and nobody has recognised it since, apart from Abkhazia and South Ossetia. And for those of you who are up on Caucasian politics, you'll know that they were breakaway regions of Georgia that were liberated by Russia, and nobody recognised them either. So it's all a bit of the case of the unrecognised gang recognising each other. That said, Transnistria is a country. I mean, it's more of a country than a lot of recognised ones, in the respect that it has its own army, it has its borders, we have passport controls, it has its own currency, the ruble, the Transnistrian ruble. And so there we are. Here's my 5 rubles. There we are. You see? And completely useless anywhere but Transnistria. But yeah. So how does this came about? Well, it's very complicated, but essentially what is now called Moldova used to be in Romania before the Second World War, and it is a majority Romanian population, but there is quite a significant Russian-speaking minority. And all of it was in Romania, except the lands beyond the Dniester River, which is this thin sliver of land all along the eastern side of the country. And that has a Russian-speaking majority, and that was part of the Russian Empire, and then the USSR. And it was part of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, but as an autonomous part, the Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic. And then, after World War II, because the Romanians were on the side of the Nazis, Stalin decided he would take back all of what we now call Moldova. And he said he would take it back because actually it used to be part of the Russian Empire years ago. So he said, well, we have a legitimacy there, and certainly nobody was questioning Stalin at the time. So he took the whole thing back and made the whole thing the Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic, with its capital in Chisinau, which is one of the 15 constituent republics of the Soviet Union. And that was fine until after the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991, there was this movement among the Romanian majority to rejoin, to reunify with Romania, and the Russians got very tetchy about this. They weren't the only ones. In the south of the country, the Gagauz, who are a very interesting little Turkish-speaking minority, they got tetchy as well. So both fighting broke out, and both regions wanted to separate and form their own countries. The Gagauz, in the end, accepted being part of Moldova, and Gagauzia is now an autonomous part of the Republic of Moldova. But the Transnistrians, they fought and they won. They beat Moldova with a little bit of Russian help, and have been running themselves ever since. But since nobody recognises that, then they don't appear on any map. It's the second time I've been here. I came in 2012. I actually came in 2012 really to go here because I do love an unrecognised country. And I mean, I guess why did they not want to go and reunify with Romania? Because they're not ethnically Romanian and they never were part of Romania. So they were saying, look, that's not who we are. Because what's the solution? Well, you could recognise Transnistria. That's a solution. The problem is that they've already made noises that, when the Russians were getting near in the Ukraine war, they said, oh yeah, we'd like to become part of Russia. And Moldova does not want Russia on its border. So they can't really recognise Transnistria because of that reason. You could try and take it into Moldova, but like I say, last time they tried to do that, there was a big war and they lost. And they may win now. Moldova was better organised and richer than it was then, and the Russians are less likely to help. But even so, it would be a lot of bloodshed for what? Or you could maybe give it to Ukraine. Now, quite what Ukraine would think about another group of Russian-speaking individuals on that land, I don't know, but they've lost a lot of land to Russia. They might want a bit to compensate for it. And I mean, culturally, the Ukrainians are closer to the Transnistrians than the Moldovans. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a possibility. Hey, but nobody's mooted that at the moment. But it could come about because there are Russian peacekeeping troops here, and as we know, the Ukrainians aren't that fussed about having Russians too many of them. But the Ukrainians at the moment have really got enough on their hands with what's going on in the south and the east of their country. So who knows what will happen? But as it is, it's its own little country. It's a very strange country. I mean, people call it a kind of time capsule of the USSR. And that's why I was so excited to go in the first place. And I went in 2012. I only spent a day there then. Stayed overnight this time. But I'll be honest, it is and it isn't. Like, there's a lot of advertisements here, and all the businesses seem to be owned by the same company, Sheriff, which is run by two ex-coppers. So it's a bit gangstery. And I mean, there are a lot of Soviet stuff. There's a lot of Soviet memorials. You've got Engels Street, Karl Marx Street, Lenin Street, all that kind of stuff. So, you've got all of that, and that's nice. And what it is it's not scruffy like a lot of East European cities. It's really beautifully kept, as of course the Soviet Union was. So, in a way, it is quite like a Soviet provincial town. When I'm saying it, I mean Tiraspol, the capital. But is it the Soviet Union? Maybe it's as close as you're going to get. I was a bit disappointed last time. I thought all this fuss and it's not that special. But, this time around, I actually really enjoyed it a lot more because I don't think I had so many expectations. So that's that. We, yesterday, what did we do yesterday? We got up in a really stinky apartment and packed up. Tom went to meet a young lady that he'd met at the disco when he went clubbing, and her name was Victoria. And then I was meeting a lady called Natalia, who I know from every passport stamp, and she's a very intrepid traveller. She's close to doing all 195 countries in the world. And so I went to a coffee shop to meet them, and Thomas and Victoria turned up as well. Victoria, interesting girl. She was an English teacher, actually. And proving what a small world Moldova is, I said, I'd met this guy called Vitaly Churban. Yeah, yesterday. He's a TV producer. And she's like, oh, yeah, I know him. And like, you know him? I'm like, well, no, but I've got friends who work in TV, and they all spoke with him. So I'm like, oh my God, this place really is like a village. But yeah, we had a nice, relaxing day, and then we took the marshrutka, the shared minibus, from the bus station. By the way, very good mosaic in the central bus station in Chisinau. And we took it to the border, all the way to Tiraspol. And quite interesting. I mean, not that long a journey, probably about an hour. But as you go out, there's these two amazing sets of apartment blocks that form like a big gateway into the city, and they're called the Gates of Chisinau. I saw them before and was blown away by them. And so that was nice to see. Also at the airport, like on the road, everybody is parked all by the side of the road, like for miles, because no one wants to pay the airport parking, and it looks like there's been some like mass exodus of people. And there's a nice old Soviet aircraft outside the airport, so that was quite cool. And then we go through the Moldovan countryside, little villages with wells, that kind of stuff. And we got to the Transnistrian border, and got our passports checked, but they don't stamp them. It's a shame. I would have quite liked a Transnistrian stamp, but our passports were checked, and then we continued onwards, and we went through the border, through the city of Bender, or Benderi, which has a wonderful castle and a bridge over the Dniester. Benderi is interesting. It's the second city of Transnistria, and it's the only one on the other side of the Dniester, and it shouldn't really be in Transnistria. During the war, they took a bit extra as well. So it really should be a fully Moldovan city, that one. But they took a bit extra, and a bit of land on the other side of the Dniester as well. And we went around Benderi, and then we continued onwards along, and Tiraspol and Benderi are very close to each other. They're literally connected by trolleybus. And we saw the Sheriff Tiraspol stadium on the edge of town. Sheriff Tiraspol are interesting. They are run by the local gangster, and they're the most successful team in Moldova. Before he took over in the 90s, they never won a title. They've now won 21. And they've been in the Champions League. They got to the Champions League group stages a few years ago, 21 I think it was, and they beat and drew with Shakhtar Donetsk, but they also beat Real Madrid, which they didn't proceed through after that. They finished on 7 points. It's still pretty respectable. Not many teams beat Real Madrid, and then they dropped into the Europa League, and I think they had a couple of good results there as well. So it was Braga, I think, and they beat Braga, and then away they lost to, and it went to penalties and they lost. So Sheriff Tiraspol, there we are, ultimate gangster club, brilliant. And going into Tiraspol, saw lots of Russian army bases and stuff, because the Russians are peacekeepers here. And then we got off and wandered around with no mobile signal, no internet here, so we went into a bakery, had some wonderful food, wonderful salad and a weird sausage thing and that, and used their Wi-Fi to get the bearings. After a bit of struggle, we found our hostel, put our stuff there and had a little wander around. I mean, it's not a big place, probably about 100,000 is the size of the city, maybe a bit bigger, 150. Transnistria had a population of over 500,000, over 600,000 at the end of communism. It's now about 350,000. A lot of people have left. It is apparently the mail order bride capital of the world. There we are. And but we had a wander around, and it was very pleasant. We saw statues of Lenin and Yuri Gagarin, and very bizarrely one of Harry Potter. I don't quite know what he's got to do with here. And then we caught a trolleybus to the stadium, because Tom wanted to get a sheriff top, but the stadium was shut. But it was still quite cool going on the trolleybus. They have like pictures on the windows of all the heroes who died in the War of Independence, which is very Soviet, And it was just a wonderful. It was a very Soviet experience going on that trolleybus. And then we caught another one back, dropped us off, where the eternal flame is, which actually burns, unlike most of them. And there's an old T-34 tank there, and like a presidential building with a statue of Lenin in front. And we wandered through the centre and came back. We were very tired. We had a couple of drinks in a bar, like lemonades, just so tired and so hot. And we wandered back to the hostel, which is actually an old apartment, intending to just chill out and go to bed earlier and that. But then we met a Polish chap called Robert in the hostel and an American lady whose name I've clean forgot. She did tell me. I'm bad with names. Really nice girl. And well, we ended up drinking 3 bottles of wine, a thing of brandy with them, and had a very, very good evening. And that, so we've parted in Tiraspol, and it was bloody good. So there we are. That is my Transnistrian experience. Oh, by the way, Transnistria, Pridniestrovia. What's the difference? Vitaly told me. So, Transnistria is what most people call Transnistria, right? And the word means, Nistria, from the Dniester River, and trans means beyond. So it's the lands beyond the Dniester River. Pridniestrovia, the Dniester River, but Pri means the lands before. So it's all about your perspective. If your perspective is you're coming from Russia, it's Pridniestrovia, and if it's the other way, it's Transnistria. So there we are. It's me, Uncle Tony Matt.
Te sun, să-ți spun ce simt acum. Alo, iubirea mea, sunt eu, fericirea.